Hello Brimwood farmers, it's November and that means over here in the UK it's cold, it's wet, it's windy and it's very easy just to stay indoors and hibernate. But that's why I thought we would take a little winter vegetable tour today and get outside, and I can show you that actually during the winter you can have things growing. Now I should mention that actually during the winter you're not actively growing stuff. It's more that you've got plants in the ground that will survive frosts and on those warmer days will grow a little bit. So you're not producing tons of food during the winter, but you are prepping and preparing for the following season. So now I'm in the vegetable patch, so let's go through what I've got growing. So we're down at the vegetable end of the garden. As you can see, I've got my guard dog Bo doing her guarding of the veggies. Although she's not very good at fox proofing, aren't you? You chase the foxes, but you're not very good at chasing them away and keeping them away. Because as you'll notice in several of these beds, there are spaces here, here, there's a big dip here, and that's where Mr. Foxy has been digging. Now one of my favourite things at the moment is this beautiful red veined sorrel. Look at it, how pretty is that? It tastes great. It's been fairly frost hardy as well, which is always a plus, and just that in a salad is almost too pretty to eat. Absolutely lovely. Really recommend it. I've got quite a few plants here and I've done nothing to them. These have been in since the beginning of summer and they've just been grown and picked and grown and picked, and they've been perfectly fine, which has been absolutely great. And the other end of this bed I've got still spring onions. So again, these were actually planted in spring and they've been harvested and then re-sown, and you can see there's some smaller ones here to the bigger ones here. They still taste great. There's no point me lifting them all because I can't eat them all as yet, so I'm just lifting and eating as I need. So they've been really, really good. The parsley, I've finally pulled up the tomatoes, but I have left the parsley in. And again, it just looks beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And then imagine that when it's also covered in the frost of morning. Very, very nice little plant. Smells lovely as well, and very, very tasty. So I've got a few of those plants. I will obviously, these are perennial. I will have to lift them and probably pot them next year because I want to use this bed for other stuff, but for now I can just leave them in place and they don't need any covering or anything. Down this end I've got some spring cabbages. They're doing really, really well again. And as I said before, they're not actively growing, they kind of just sit there a bit dormant during the winter months. But as soon as the warmer weather in spring arrives, these will take off. And then I can pick them for fresh young leaves, or I can leave them to go mature. Now what I think I'm going to do is, as you can see here, I've got quite close together planting. What I'll probably do is I'll leave these two to mature. I'll pick the middle two as young salad leaves, and then I'll leave the end two to mature so they've got more space between them. But again, greenery in the garden during winter, which is great. Over here I've got my two types of kale. So I've got this beautiful curly kale. I don't know what's been eating this, maybe a pigeon. But again, small plants, but they are growing. And on warmer days they grow excellently, and again when they're covered in frost they look nice, and it's just a nice feeling to have something growing in the garden. Single charge plant, and then a bit more kale down here. I do love kale. I can't wait till this gets bigger and I can actually start to eat it. Obviously that's probably not going to be now till like February, March time when it gets really warm. They're going to stay fairly small throughout the winter, and you know, growth is going to be relatively slow. But again, this is all in prep for next year, so that in those January, February, March months when you're sowing everything else, this will all be coming into its own. Under my little polytunnel, I've got some lovely chard at this end. So if you remember, I was having the cat digging up this constantly, and the fox. Pinched out these chards, and they've done well. So you can see I've got some yellow stems and some pink stems. And then when these get to be bigger plants, again, they are absolutely stunning just to have in the garden, but also taste really great. Don't let the leaves get too long, because that's when they get bitter. Pick this fresher, smaller leaves for the best tasting stuff. And then the other end of this polytunnel is the tiny, tiny, tiny spinach. Now obviously again, that's not harvestable, but again, on those warmer days, and especially because it's below this tunnel, it heats up and these will become bigger and bigger and bigger. And spinach is best sown in the autumn, early winter months, and then kept like this, because then come spring it has a massive growth and you get tons and tons of harvest. If you sow it in the spring, you've literally only got a few months of it before it goes to seed in the summer and bolts. So it's really good to do it like this. So that is outside. Let's pop into the greenhouse. Now at this time of year, most people's greenhouses are probably similar to mine, a bit of a mess. But look, there is life. So if you were watching Smallholding Diaries, I think last week, I shared with you that the beans are starting to come up. So these are broad beans. They've only been in for a few weeks. They're relatively old seeds, but you can see that I've got 4 that have come up. Now, you can plant these outside. I prefer to do them in pots and then plant them out afterwards, transplant them. A, because it allows you to give spacing and give you the proper spacing, but also because if broad beans grow too quickly in the winter, they aren't frost hardy. You can put them out in the ground, and this is Aquadulta Claudia, so it's a really, really good winter frost hardy specimen. But if they grow too much, as I say, the leaves will be frosted, and the crowns can be frosted. So if you have a really, really mild winter, for example, and then they grow, and then you get a really, really cold, snappy February, March, they'll get frosted off. So I find it best to keep them in pots like this, and then you can kind of hold them in an environment where they're not going to get frosted. So if there is really mild and they go crazy growth, it's not so much of a problem. Then you can plant them out when all worries of frost have gone past. And then in here we have the peas. Now the peas have not yet started to germinate. Now these pea seeds are extremely old. I'm talking like 5, 6, 7 years. So I actually planted them like 3 or 4 peas to a space, and 4 in each. And as you can see, there is nothing. However, I was digging around in the soil earlier today, in this patch particularly, and a couple have sprouted. So we should have some pea shoots appearing soon. So hopefully I'll be able to share that with you on a Smallholding Diaries as and when they come up. And then finally, and this isn't strictly speaking your winter vegetable garden because it's indoors, but don't forget you can still do all your microgreens. So I'm on another run of microgreens, so we'll just take this off. So here are my sunflower seeds. They are not quite ready to come up yet. They probably need one more day of being underneath this cloth, although there is a little bit of mold down here, so I'm just going to give them a quick spray with my hydrogen peroxide solution just to stop that mold from spreading. And then under here we have our pak choi and our radish, and that's, I don't know what's gone on with this one. Something weird's happened with this one. You can see it's germinated on this side, but not germinated on this side, which is a little bit strange. And it's perfectly wet, so I don't know quite what's gone on there. But that's all in experimentation. But again, you can obviously still do inside stuff during the winter too, and microgreens is a great one to start with. So that's a little brief tour of the winter garden, and I admit you do have to go and look for inspiration. It's not like those spring and summer months where you step outside and there's beautiful butterflies and dragonflies whizzing around and birds singing and new flowers budding every single day. It is grey, it is dreary. You do have to go and look for a little bit of inspiration and a little bit of magic, but it's there. If you look close enough, you can find it. I mean, that red-veined sorrel is beautiful. So it is worthwhile going out and having a look for some inspirational stuff. And it is also worth having a bit of a winter garden. So before this year, I only ever really grew a bit of pak choi and a bit of spinach in the greenhouse. Whereas this year I thought, you know what? I need to try and plan more. I need to plan for the spring. I need to plan for the January, February months when there's not a lot to eat in terms of harvesting from home. And so you can see the crops that I've got going, and obviously the microgreens too. And microgreens are definitely worthwhile you doing. So thank you for stopping by the video, taking a look at what's going on here. I hope your gardening and your farming, wherever in the world you are, is going really, really well. If you love the channel, please hit the subscribe button and hit the like button if you have enjoyed the video. If you're on Facebook, please come across and join our Brimwood Farms community group where we're chatting all week through about poultry and gardening and vegetables. And I will see you on the next video. Bye bye for now.